The realization of economic recovery budget in 2020 hit 0.83% of the total target. BPOM issues emergency use authorization for Johnson & Johnson and Casino vaccines. Hello, good evening viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic and capital market sectors. And as the pandemic is still ongoing, we will provide you the latest COVID-19 information. Please stay safe by taking some simple precautions such as physical distancing, wearing a face mask, avoiding crowds, cleaning your hands and having less mobility. With me, Wicky Adrian. This is Market Headlines. The government ensures that the realization of 2020 COVID-19 handling budget and the national economic recovery has been closely monitored.
Transparency is the most guarded thing by the Ministry of Finance in the implementation of the COVID-19 handling program and national economic recovery in 2020. One of the steps taken is to involve many supervisory institutions ranging from the Corruption Eradication Commission to the Supreme Audit Agency or BPK. Minister of Finance Sri Mulyani Indrawati revealed that the realization of the budget for handling COVID-19 and national economic recovery in 2020 reached 578.8 trillion rupiah or 82.83% of the debt of 695.2 trillion rupiah.
Sejak tahap perencanaan hingga pelaksanaannya, lembaga penegak hukum seperti kepolisian, kejaksaan, dan KPK, serta juga BPKP, dan bahkan konsultasi dengan BPK. Tujuannya agar dalam suasana krisis dan kegentingan yang memerlukan langkah begitu cepat dan luar biasa, tata kelola dan akuntabilitas serta transparansi dapat terjaga dengan baik.
Efforts to maintain economic recovery in 2020 are claimed to have succeeded in maintaining economic growth at -2%. In addition, the poverty rate can be maintained at a level of 10%, better than without the COVID-19 handling program and the national economic recovery, which is estimated to be above 11%. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
The government's decision to extend the PPKM policy is expected to be consistent with efforts to maintain economic recovery. Economists believe that these efforts must pay attention to increasing the implementation of vaccinations in order to avoid the third wave and the threat of the emergence of new variants of COVID-19. Executive Director of Core Indonesia, Muhammad Faisal, explained that the extension of PPKM was recognized as a solution to overcome the potential for the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, he warned that the increase in the number of vaccinations must continue. The government should start thinking about ways to mobilize and distribute vaccinations quickly to address community vulnerabilities in the future. With the new variant of COVID-19, efforts to avoid the third wave of the pandemic must be taken seriously.
Waspadaan kita memang sudah sepantasnya PPKM diteruskan, ya, walaupun dengan tingkat level atau level yang lebih rendah. Nah, ini untuk mengantisipasi terjadinya lonjakan kembali, ya, dan ketidakpastian masih cukup tinggi, artinya risiko untuk kemudian akan ada gelombang lanjutan itu masih ada, ya, dan ini harus diantisipasi. Salah satunya adalah dengan pemberlakuan kembali PPKM, ya, diteruskan walaupun dengan level yang lebih rendah. Nah, tapi tentu saja perlu ada juga percepatan dari sisi.
Ministry of Health encourages the use of the Peduli Lindungi application to continue to be carried out as a screening tool for COVID-19 cases. In the future, the government will expand sectors that are required to use the application. The Ministry of Health continues to optimize the implementation of Peduli Lindungi application to screen COVID-19 cases. Deputy Minister of Health, Dante Saxono, said that until September 5th, 2021, 1,625 black cases were found. These cases were those who had previously been exposed to COVID-19 or detected close contact with COVID-19 patients, but were still able to move outside. Meantime, through the Peduli Lindungi application, the Deputy Minister of Health is optimistic that the risk of transmission of COVID-19 cases can be reduced by screening carried out earlier.
Kita sudah melakukan penggunaan Peduli Lindungi ini di 6 sektor utama dan segera akan digunakan di beberapa sektor yang lainnya. Dari tadi sudah disampaikan oleh Bapak Menko, kita berhasil menjaring kira-kira kasus hitam itu sebanyak 1.625. Dari 1.625 kasus ini adalah mereka yang tidak diketahui sebelumnya atau sudah diketahui sebelumnya menderita COVID-19 atau kontak erat, tetapi mereka masih berkeliaran di jalan. Itu terutama disebabkan karena mereka terdeteksi di sektor perdagangan, terutama ketika akan masuk mal. Jadi ini penting sekali proteksi dengan melakukan Peduli Lindungi ini untuk menjaga masyarakat supaya tidak terjadi kontak yang.
Moving on to global update, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced plans to hike taxes to fund health care and reform the social care system. Meanwhile, German industrial production increased in July after 3 consecutive months of declines. More stories on today's International Minute.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced plans to hike taxes to fund healthcare and reforms to the country's social care system. From April, Johnson's government wants to introduce a new 1.25% health and social care levy on earned income. Across the UK, tax rates on shareholders' dividends will rise by the same amount. It will begin as an increase on the existing national insurance rate and become a separate tax on earned income in 2023. President Joe Biden declared climate change has become everybody's crisis as he toured neighborhoods flooded by the remnants of Hurricane Ida, warning it's time for America to get serious about the code red danger or face ever worse loss of life and property. The president said he thinks the damage everyone is seeing, from wildfires in the west to hurricane havoc in the south and northeast, is turning climate change skeptics into believers, but that years of unheeded warnings from scientists, economists and others mean time for action is short. Ford Motor has hired a former executive from Apple and Tesla, Doug Field, to be the company's head of advanced technology and new embedded systems, a critical post as the auto industry moves to adopt vehicles powered by electricity and guided by computers. Field will be in charge of building out passenger systems like navigation, driver assist technology, connected systems and cybersecurity across all of Ford's products. He'll also be in charge of making sure Ford products work well with other pieces of technology such as a smartphone or watch. German industrial production increased in July after 3 consecutive months of declines that have reflected supply chain problems. Overall production increased by 1% compared with the previous month, the economy ministry said. In June, it had dropped 1%. There were bigger increases in the production of cars and car parts, which was up 1.9%, and machinery, which rose 6.9%. IDX Channel reports.
Market headlines will be right back after the break. Stay tuned. Seiring meluasnya cakrawala investasi di tengah pasar saham yang dinamis. Analisa mendalam diperlukan untuk menemukan saham berorientasi value yang menghasilkan kinerja yang tinggi. IDX Channel akan mengulas isu pasar dan pergerakan saham terkini. Saksikan ulasannya bersama analis terpercaya hanya di IDX Channel.
Indonesia dipastikan sudah terlepas dari jurang resesi ekonomi setelah berhasil tumbuh positif.
Pemerintah melihat bahwa Q4 adalah potensi untuk kita membalikkan keadaan kembali. Kita memperkirakan
Satgas COVID-19 tetap mengingatkan agar masyarakat tetap disiplin dalam menegakkan protokol kesehatan.
Pemerintah akan melakukan upaya terbaik untuk memvaksinasi sebanyak mungkin orang dan secepat mungkin.
Kementerian Perdagangan optimistis target pemerintah untuk membuat 30 juta UMKM go digital bisa tercapai di akhir tahun 2023. Wisata Bali dan Labuan Bajo hingga saat ini masih menjadi favorit.
Welcome back. The government withdrew funds from the IMF amounting to 6.31 billion US dollar. The lack of funds for the cost of economic recovery is considered to be the cost of the government took the IMF special drawing rights.
The government received a special drawing rights facility from the International Monetary Fund amounting to 6.31 billion US dollar. The lack of funds for the cost of economic recovery is considered to be the reasons the government withdrew funds from the IMF. This was conveyed by the senior economist of the Institute for Development of Economic and Finance, Didik Junaidi Rahbini, responding to the government's decision to withdraw 6.31 billion US dollar in funds from the IMF. According to Didik, the funds must be used efficiently and effectively. He considered that the urgent need for funds made the government hit various sources of funds, ranging from increased debt last year, asking Bank Indonesia to buy bonds or burden sharing, collecting debts from Bank Indonesia liquidity assistance, to withdrawing SDRS. Didik considered that additional funds from the SDR could increase public consumption or government spending. This is expected to restrain economic growth from falling low or returning to negative. The economists assess that in the future, the government should be more careful in managing state finances. IDX Channel reports.
Indonesia's Food and Drugs Monitoring Agency, or BPOM, has issued the Emergency Use Authorization, or EUA, for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which can be given with one single dose. The agency also issued an EUA for the Confidencia vaccine produced by CanSino. Head of BPOM, Penny Lukito, stated that both vaccines have passed the thorough evaluation of the Indonesian Technical Advisory Group, or immunization, which she said adheres to international evaluation guidelines. The interim data from the third clinical trial for Johnson & Johnson shows that this vaccine has 67.2% efficacy against a wide range of COVID-19 symptoms and 66.1% for higher symptoms experienced by subjects aged 18 years old and above. Meanwhile, the Confidencia vaccine launched an efficacy score of 90.1% against severe COVID-19 cases. For information, the agency has issued emergency use authorization for 9 vaccine brands, with the first being Sinovac, and was then followed by Biopharma COVID-19 vaccine, AstraZeneca, Sinopharm, Moderna, Pfizer, Sputnik V, Johnson & Johnson, and CanSino. Kereta Komuter Indonesia announced that starting September 8, 2021, train passengers must show a certificate of the COVID-19 vaccination as a travel requirement. This provision applies to Jabodetabek commuter line, Yogyakarta Solo, Prambanan Express, and local trains operated by KAI commuter.
Kereta Komuter Indonesia announced that starting September 8, 2021, train passengers must present a COVID-19 vaccination certificate as a travel requirement. Vice President Corporate Secretary of KAI Commuter Anna Purba said that rule was enforced in accordance with the circular from the COVID-19 Handling Task Force regarding travel provisions during the COVID-19 pandemic. She explained that vaccine certificates can be shown to officers through the Peduli Lindungi applications, physically or digitally in the form of photo files. Officers will also ask users to show ID cards or other identities to be matched with vaccine certificates. The vaccine certificate received is at least the first dose vaccine certificate. She explained that the vaccine certificate as a requirement for using the train applies to the Jabodetabek commuter line, Yogyakarta Solo, Prambanan Express, and local trains operated by KAI Commuter. Thus, Anna said that starting on Saturday 11 September 2021, travel documents such employee registration certificates, assignments, and letters from the local government are no longer valid as a requirement because passengers must show a vaccine certificate. IDX Channel reports.
Traveloka has reportedly stopped talks to go public or list its initial shares in the United States. The company has decided not to continue the process of listing shares through SPAC as enthusiasm in the market has begun to subside.
Traveloka has reportedly stopped talks to go public or list its initial shares in the United States by using a blank check company or special purpose acquisition company Bridgestone Holdings. According to a familiar source, the board of directors of the Southeast Asian online travel giant has decided not to continue the process of listing shares through SPAC as enthusiasm in the SPAC market has begun to subside. Later, when the market recovers, Traveloka may revisit talks with billionaires Richard Lee and Peter Thiel SPAC or a different SPAC, one source said. Both sides will continue to monitor the situation in the coming weeks. Meantime, a representative from Traveloka could not immediately be contacted for comment regarding this issue. For information, in early February 2020, Traveloka management stated that they plan to conduct an IPO on Wall Street this year. The corporate action is planned to be carried out through a blank check company. Regarding IPO, Traveloka Chief Executive Officer Ferry Unardi said the IPO funds would be used to make acquisitions or mergers with other companies. IDX Channel reports.
Stay with us because Market Alliance will be right back after the break.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Session Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
Presiden Joko Widodo memiliki optimisme yang tinggi terkait dengan proses vaksinasi nasional yang sedang dilakukan saat ini. Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat dilakukan untuk bisa meningkatkan pemahaman masyarakat?
Komunikasi publik adalah kunci. Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Indonesia dipastikan sudah terlepas dari jurang resesi ekonomi setelah berhasil tumbuh positif.
Pemerintah melihat bahwa Q4 adalah potensi untuk kita membalikan keadaan kembali. Kita memperkirakan
Seiring meluasnya cakrawala di IDX Channel. Welcome back. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,118.29, and then approaching the closing time of the session, the index was on the level of 6,055.9. Then the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,026.02. In short, JCI went down 1.41%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement leading the dynamics of today's trading. We got technology as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 0.08%, and we got industry as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 1.8%. Finance went down 1.79%, and property went down 1.58%. Moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading session. MLPL went up 8.3% to level 535 per share. MPP.
Supported by rising coal prices despite declining productions and sales, Adaro Energy managed to record an increase in revenue in the first half of 2021. The financial report for the first semester of 2021 showed Adaro recorded productions of 26.49 million tons, down 3% from the same period in the previous year. Meanwhile, its sales also fell to 25.78 million tons, down 5% from 27.13 million tons last year. Tighter supply in a coal market led to successful increases and supported the high coal prices during this period. In the first semester of 2021, Adaro recorded a net revenue of $1.56 billion, up 15% from the first semester of 2020 at $1.36 billion. Meanwhile, Adaro generated operational EBITDA of $635 million and core profit of $330 million, up 36% and 45% respectively compared to the same period last year. IDX Channel reports.
Nippon Indosari Corprindo posted a positive performance in the first half of 2021. The company posted 121.8 billion rupiah net profit, or grew by 33.2%. Director of Nippon Indosari Corprindo, Ida Apulia Simatupang, explained that this positive achievement was due to the company's efforts in implementing various initiatives focused on profitability. Meanwhile, during that period, the company managed to record sales of 1.55 trillion rupiah, or a decrease of 7.18% from the previous period in 2020, which was 1.67 trillion rupiah. The amount of sales was contributed by the plain bread variant with a contribution of 68%, then 3% sweet bread and other products such as cakes, about 2%. At the same time, to prepare for the increasing demand in the future, the company built a new factory in Pekanbaru and completed the additional capacity of the Palembang plant, both of which are expected to be completed earlier next year. In August 2021, PP Presisi successfully obtained new contracts of 3.5 trillion rupiah, or 95% of the total contract target this year.
PP Presisi obtained a new contract of 105.1 billion rupiah, contributed by the company's two business lines, namely mining services and infrastructure. Thus, the total new contracts until August 2021 reached 3.5 trillion rupiah. PP Presisi President Director Ruli Noviandar explained that the acquisition of the new contract came from the multi-Harapan Utama mining infrastructure development project of 65.6 billion rupiah. Then the contribution from the subsidiary, namely LMA, to the Makassar Parepare Railway Project segment F Directions Tonasa amounted to 19.8 billion rupiah. Ruli added with the achievement of this new contract, the company has achieved 95% of the total contract target of 3.7 trillion rupiah throughout 2021. The composition of companies' new contract acquisition until August 2021 is dominated by the mining services business line at 62%, civil work at 30%, and the remaining structure work and production plant at 8%. To note, 72% of the new contracts came from non-group and 28% from PP Group. IDX Channel reports.
Step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is the update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And the news close our market alliance today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, Your Trustworthy Economic, Business and Capital Market Channel. We can get through this pandemic by staying disciplined on health protocols. Everyone must wear a face mask because it can protect us from COVID-19, and use masks properly and encourage family and people around you to do the same. I'm Wicky Adrian. Have a nice evening and stay safe.